Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good, not bad. I have been on a lot of the time my mind thinks on neuroscience, the science of our mind and our body combination, and I incorporate, and most people should, that spirituality factor in there too. Um, so I was thinking about that this morning. Then I get on YouTube and Professor Vaknin is talking about neuroscience. And I go over to Jason from on Archaics um, YouTube channel, and he's got a doctor on there, a Dr. Bear from Alphabetic, I think they're called, and some guy named Mike. And so he has, and they're talking about the same thing. And I'm thinking, okay, this really isn't a coincidence. And it's a really good thing that more people are thinking on that level. The things that we can heal within ourselves just by pure thought alone. When I call myself an alchemist, just not that I could look at the periodic table and do something with one substance or another. I'm actually talking, which I can, but I'm just talking about um, the science of that alchemy within ourselves. And Jason made a really good point. He said, he doesn't really think about it. Um, he just knows that the human body is like a miraculous machine. He hasn't really studied like neuroscience and how um, that will, you know, the different parts of your brain that can control the different parts of your body or anything. He just knows that he'll think about healing, he'll heal, that type of situation, that he's done it many many times. And I've thought about the times that I've had like a major head injury I had to work through, and a stroke, and dyslexia. I pulled my spinal cord. I wasn't supposed to walk. Some of you know this, but 17 years old, they told me you'll never walk again. I pulled it an inch and a half. A quarter of an inch is enough to let the fluids release the fluids into your spinal column, and it gets sort of like an infection. You go septis. Within other things can happen with the swelling and all that, but with pure thought and determination. And yeah, it hurt, but it took me about a month, 6 weeks, really good. But my friends had carried me in and out of the hospital. I told them I refused to take no for an answer. I said, I'll be dancing with you again. There was these twins, these brother and sister that I used to go out dancing with um, in Montana. That was one of our, it's about the only thing to do around there for recreation, besides work. So anyway, um, but I was dancing again. But different, and I pulled all the muscles in my stomach and all the ligaments around it. Um, and I healed from that at 15. I was wearing a brace. Granted, I had to like bind myself up to be able to even motivate, and it hurt. It felt like broken ribs that I had, but I didn't know that then. But similar to whenever your core is injured, the other things suffer around it too. So I've been through some all kinds of trippy things that I have healed from. And I was thinking of the possibilities of that in the mental health care community, leaving them flipping idiotic neuroscientists out of this shit. They can't possibly gauge one mind to another on that depth for care on any significant scale that's going to satisfy me or other people that have studied the sciences and medical and mental health. It's just, and I have peer review information backing up what I'm saying. So just because somebody at Stanford or Harvard or um, their neurological department says this or that, that doesn't make it gospel according to the other scientists out in the world. They and we have other opinions about care for people. It doesn't just necessarily um, mean sparking your neurons with electricity by some patch or delivery by a machine. These are things that can be taught to people using their inner strengths, their and biology of the mind, pure neuron synapses, alchemy. You can actually recreate new nerve endings where the damaged one has been and uh, pressurized what I came up with. I call it AccuRubbies. When I was working as a physical therapist aide, instead of like acupuncture, because then you're dealing with the pressure points in the body, you use actually like touch. Like if you touch here and here on your thumb, if you're having stress, they say you can even blow on it. I saw something this morning. Yeah, that will trigger those synapses, that neurons in your brain to fire that calmness within yourself. So little triggers that we can do within ourselves are, it's so flippin' biologically magical, the human body. It's super incredible like that. So, yeah, I've been thinking about all that this morning. Then everybody else is talking about it too. It's like, wow, not a coincidence. It's just like I tried to watch a Robin's Hood channel live, and I do believe that his information is getting hijacked and messed around like his live streams, and there's certain people I've noticed that with. Lady Babylon, he'll be talking about something like, why was Jesus in the park with a naked boy and a medicated bandage on his privates when he was arrested by the Romans? Questions like that, and his channel will shut off, you know, things that are in the actual text before translation. That's the key part here. Before translations, reading it in the original language. Can't beat that. And you can't mess with it either. Cheers, everybody. So, yeah, kind of a lot on my mind. I got my work done this morning. I still could do some more, but taking a break. Yeah. I was amazed. I had washed one dress I have is 40 years old, just about, and the other one's like oh, 25 years old. And I had them stored away, but I'm still amazed that when you buy something super quality, and take care of it, you can have it for a long time. Maybe that's the message for my body too, as she lights a cigarette. Yeah, I think my smoking would be worse on me, say like if I wasn't active. and I just sat around, or I never fasted or detoxed or nothing, I'd be like probably pretty sick. I wouldn't doubt it. Excuse my moving around. Gotta reposition myself. So, yeah. There might be some noise. Maybe. Maybe not. Just a car for now. It's a little, just a little beater. Good little car, Volkswagen Jetta. We've got a bug that is not a beater. In fact, it shouldn't even be driven on the gravel at all because of its paint job, just no way to ever duplicate it. So if it gets damaged, well, it's still a car, but yeah, you don't like to really. Somebody needs it. Somebody that's going to love it and drive it on highway. It would be perfect. It's not a city car, but highway miles, like if a person had to commute, it'd be perfect. Well, I mean, it could be a good little city car too, but yeah, you know, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna share anything today. I had shared Kraken Ford on myths that have the truth in them for ears to hear and souls that know. Then there are stories that have been passed on through the generations that hold truths in there that people can decipher, pick them out of there. And then you'll really know with all these things combined like that, you'll really know what's like written in their so-called secret documents and whatever. Most of their secrets are just how to use some type of craft or trick or medium, uh, the television, whatever, frequencies, whatever the craft is to use against people, you know. And there's so many of them. It's like, Doug will say, well, what about this? Or, they're doing this to people. And I'm like, yeah, so I've heard. I go, why? Do you think that's going to affect me or something? Is that what you're implying? You know, that type of alchemy within a person, that feeling. That's the drive and it is a natural thing, but I do know, yes, it's me. I have a connection to God, and that's where I get my energy in my body. That spark, that electric, that makes me me, that makes my neurons fire, you know, when people don't acknowledge where that energy they're using comes from. That is the reason the dark cabal is hiding the reset of the phoenix cycle that archaics is documented through chronology that has happened to people because they won't acknowledge where that energy's coming. It's not that you're draining something that can't be replenished. It's that it pollutes that energy with it's almost like not saying please or thank you or excuse me or all these things that we usually do when we have manners, It's like if you didn't do that and you're out in society and now you are treating our creator like that. It's like, think about it. Think about it on that level. And the next time you aren't feeling good and you feel whiny inside, think about that energy you're about to draw upon. It's not just self generated, people, you know. No, we didn't make ourselves. Why does everybody have such a hard time believing that? You know? They say they believe in God, but they're not walking with him. They just say they believe in him, you know? As they hobble down the road with their hunchbacks as they age, um, you know, canes and walkers and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? All that unnecessary shit. Because, yeah, that's why. You know? They don't care about their creator, that's why. And I don't care what anybody says. You'll be like, I've worked with the elderly, I've worked in hospitals and retirement homes, and I've had a lot of experience with what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to leave it there. And if you have a differing of opinion, you can just go hobble on off in any direction is cool, away from common sense that will help other people actually from the inside out with paying reverence to our creator. Otherwise, that energy is going into the ether, and that phoenix energy is inescapable. And 2042, your offsprings may might be in heart rendering danger because you're not heeding my words in that respect. So it's a cycle, and it's a time clock. That's the true alarm clock. Some of us may or may not be here to see, but it's happened before and it's documented. Oh yeah, it is. So, what do you know about the Phoenix cycle? 138 years. Um, there's a major world event. I think it's every. I don't want to be wrong about this. See, now I think 1902 was the last big one, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, no, there's other ones. There's other events. Jason's got it all documented because we live in an illusion that's mathematical. And these things can actually be um, gauged with mathematics, you know. Of course, now, yeah, what are we using? Are we considering that 0 is actually a digit? And things are off according to really the grand scheme of things, or we're going with what um, the measurements of the world, and yeah, they're all correlate, but they're all connected. Dark cabal too. There's other ways to do. There's more than one way to do a mathematical equation. Is what I'm trying to say. There absolutely is. Take division, for instance. You can do long division or decimal, and you're going to come out with two actual different numbers depending on the system that you use, you know, and that's true. But Anyway, it can all be broken down anyway. But yeah, it is a dark cabal system. You just have to know how to ride the wave to be able to work within that system for your benefit, you know? So, yeah. It's just like two over on Archaics, Jason was saying how he took offense to the guy's t-shirt. It was a joke, but something about Denny's um, not being healthy for you. And Jason loves Denny's because it's close to his house. He lives out in the country. And so, in order to like meet somebody for a meal or something, and Denny's is a pretty decent restaurant, especially like breakfast is pretty good at Denny's, I think. But I'm not a big breakfast eater. Anyway, I've done it in the past. But so he was talking about like he doesn't really worry about what he's eating and stuff. And if you have the mindset that you're not really putting entire junk in your body or anything, you're actually eating um normal foods, you're usually gonna be okay with that. It's like last night, um I got uh let's see, chicken rings, sliders, and well, Doug and I split a French fry and chicken rings, and we had sliders and a shake, and that was so awesome. Even the from White Castle, and even the grease for their fries was fresh. Everything was just absolutely yummy, and I feel wonderful today. But I don't do that to myself a lot, you know. Um, I even consider pizza a healthy food group. Nobody's going to tell me that low fat mozzarella cheese from a cow, it's just like butter and milk. And no, I have my muscles because I drink milk, you know, and I eat my dairy. And they're even saying now that, and this is coming from heart doctors that say, uh, different types of oil besides the animal fat, the natural type things like butter, different types of oil are far worse for you. And even people with high cholesterol, that's not an indication of heart disease, you know. And it is like really individualized, you know, the chemical makeup of one person's body. And there again, with somebody quoting nutrition to me, which I studied and helped the school system with their menus for the kids for, you know, through the year. We'd sit down at the end of the school year, um, before summer break, you know, and plan the whole meals for the following year, every day that those kids would have school. I got to help. Actually, I, they admired my body and wanted my advice, to put it quite bluntly, because I knew people that I actually was their trainer. Um, yeah, because if they couldn't keep up, I guess they'd want to follow that, you know? So, yeah, I know what I'm talking about in the nutrition area too. And if you're taking care of yourself, you can afford to eat anything you want to eat at any time. That's just the way it is. But if you use the motto, if you don't need it, don't eat it. Like if you're just eating just to, because you're bored, or if you're eating to sustain your body and to have fuel, you know. And another thing, when we sleep at night, that's when our proteins are absorbed into our bodies. And a lot of people are like, oh, don't eat meat at night. You can just, once again, hobble off over there, cupcake, you know, eat it whenever you think your body's going to digest it, that you're going to need it. But it it's more readily, your amino acids, that protein is more readily absorbed at night than it is when your body's at rest, is when your muscles will heal, of course. And that's where, when that energy is going to be most beneficial for you. So if you're going to eat something that I would consider maybe not the coolest of breakfasts, like a lot of carbs, I'd recommend at least have like a glass of milk with it, or a dairy, or a handful of nuts, or something that is some equivalent of protein, because otherwise your carbs will turn into sugar. And I can go on and on all day about this stuff, but when you get my meaning. But yeah, actually just shooting the breeze for people that are on the same level, that you actually really know what's going on inside you and outside there and outside there. And there's nothing you can say or do to prove anything about it, but you still know what's up, you know. The best we can do is just have a good day, living life, for you people in the workforce. Really, may your days go quick and your weekends go slow. That's my wish. Yeah. But even if you're like retired, you have to keep busy. I've seen a lot of people just stagnate. They're just like, you know, I have I have too much energy to just sit there like that. I can't. I'm up and down. I keep my YouTube on. I keep my Facebook open, and that's why I love the pause button, and you can go back in the history and find what you were watching at the same spot. Or if you have windows, you can keep several windows open, and that's nice. But yeah, just don't sit there, you know. Especially if you're not feeling good. I know it's hard to keep busy when you're not feeling good, but if you do force yourself to do a little something, then you can really pat yourself on the back. I mean, unless you're on your deathbed. But say if you have like a cold, um, maybe to go and cook something is the best thing you can do. Not grab something quick, but actually make a nice meal and sit down and eat it, and the benefit from that whole thing. Just kind of pushing yourself if you're able to do that, like if you have a touch of the flu, or I do that. I'm speaking from experience. I might not even eat it right away up, and it might even make me sick while I'm cooking it. But it'll be there for when I want it then too. So yeah. So anyway, I was gonna share Professor Vaknin's video on neuroscience, but and mental health and the connection within all that, and him actually being a particle physicist and a medical doctor, has a big voice in this situation. But I just wonder how many other people really understand the danger society is in with I would call it malpractice, but how do you prove something that like that towards big corporations that are backing these individual medical facilities, and universities that are putting out misleading information for people that really isn't going to benefit them. Sure, you think, well, if somebody has a neurological disease, say like my dyslexia or something, yeah, you hook something up to my brain and you're going to make me think the way this program wants me to. Or I know somebody with a form of Parkinson's. If you could make this person diminish some of the shaking within them and the lack of muscular control, those type of diseases like that. Okay, you think, but what if the scientists go more in the mental health care realm and we're really caring about the person now? We're not giving them pills, we're not hooking them up to people and jacking their souls. We're actually plugging in their soul in the appropriate outlet and teaching them how to overcome mental illness and handicap. These things can be worked with without drugs. There's for cold therapy for a narcissist. Um, I'm the expert on that, baby. Come get some, you know, big time. It's all with love too. But I mean, there's people out here that have just as much as if not more knowledge than the people that is being pushed by mainstream with this neuroscience, and it's starting to really, well, it has been for many years, bothered other professionals that don't have as big of a voice in the situation. So we can try and get a little bit, like if you gathered like one thing in that area from me or somebody else to share it, what's going to work within our human bodies to make us healthier. you know how can we help the whole situation as a whole? you know sure, not everybody's going to think the same thing, but there's energy that we draw on that needs to be respected. Once you have that, you don't need the machines. I'm telling you the truth. And I'm living proof. I think other medical professionals, I know they feel the same way. So I'll share Professor's neuroscience talk over in my community for you if you're interested. So, but you'd have to, well, it'll be there. Might be one or two down, but I won't flood it. I'll leave it available there for you today so you could go check it out if you're interested, because he feels the same way about things. So the people with neurological and mental health troubles can be helped in other ways that it's just being ignored, and that's a crying shame. Whether or not they believe in a creator or not, there's still ways that we can reach and teach people with our wording. But yeah, hey, look into that Phoenix reset. And it's not just going to happen on that day. These things are going to get progressively worse. Not what mainstream media is going to show you, but things that'll be even frequency level things that will benefit or harm depending on your reception. I'm telling you true. So I appreciate you joining me. You have a really good week ahead. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.